You like to play video games, right? What kind of games do you like to play? Some people like FPS games, some people like story-based games, some people like JRPGs, and some people like almost everything. As long as it is interesting, they would play. And I am one of them. I play a lot of games, from FPS to story games. Primarily though, I really like myself some really good story games. I feel like I would get a lot more invested into the characters of the story that I play rather than the characters that I play in an FPS game. Not saying that it is bad, but it's just who I am. Now, when we talk about video games, it is predominantly assumed, our general idea is that most of the AAA title games come from Europe/America. A lot of free-to-play/mobile games come from Asia, aka China, South Korea, or Japan. I don't know what the fuck is Japan doing. They have their own JRPGs. They are so weird. I can never get into JRPGs for some reason. But there's one country that we always look over, and that is India. That's right, people. There's a country called India. And let me tell you, there are a growing number of gamers in this country, and it's a very good market for a lot of these companies who want to make a huge profit. One of the big issues that India has right now is that not a lot of kids have access to technology. They don't have access to a good solid computer. And even if they do, the video games that are being developed by these AAA title companies like EA, Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard, they are way too expensive for an Indian market. And for that reason, a lot of these gamers in India, they depend on mobile games because A, it is very accessible, and B, most of the mobile games tend to be free. And on top of that, they would have skins which you could buy, but I'm willing to bet that 99% of the Indian gaming community don't actually like to spend money on these skins, but they rather have a game or two with their friends for the most part, which is fine. But here's the thing. I miss some cultural games. I miss some different perspective in gaming. I'll tell you what I mean. So, for the most part, when we play a game, let's take, The Division for example. It happens in the United States. Or Assassin's Creed games, they happen in Europe for the most part. Of course, Odyssey is a little, Odyssey or Origins, my bad. Origins is a little different story, but for the most part, they happen in Europe/Americas. Which is fine, I don't have any problem with them. Personally, I love them too. But here's what I want to see happen. I would love to see a AAA game coming from India. No, I don't mean that the companies would use the Indian talented artists and programmers for making a game in Europe or a different game, but I mean a game that is set and developed in India. Now, yes, there is one Uncharted game that happens and takes place in India, which was fine. That's just one of the examples. What I would love to see is an authentic story coming from India. I think that with an Indian audience and with an Indian perspective, the stories that could be told would be vastly different, and it would be a very unique thing for the rest of the world, because that genuine and authentic perspective would only come from writers/developers from India. Now, I know that developing a AAA title game is very expensive. Companies tend to spend hundreds of millions to make a game, which is great for the gaming community, but this kind of budget cannot be allocated to Indian developers because that is just way too expensive for the Indian market, and to make a profit off of it is a huge undertaking because, like I said, Indian audiences generally tend to prefer free-to-play games. But I do believe that there should be one or two, at least a handful of companies out there who are trying to make a AAA game. And I'd love to play a game or two like that. I really love to do that. I know it takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money. Generally, most of the gaming companies in India tend to be support companies for these mega corporations. out in the West, which is fine. It provides a lot of jobs for the local people. That is great. But what I'd love to see is an authentic story coming out from these developers. So what kind of games could come out of India? Well, a lot. Quite a lot can come from there. We never know what could happen. But one of the things that I would love to see, the games that do come out of India, are something that would highlight the Indian culture, the Indian values, and the environment that India has, and that to be captured within those games. Again, there are a few games like that, very handful of, not a lot of them, but that's what I want to see. I want to see games coming from India that would capture the essence of Indianness. You know, it's hard to say what is Indianness. It's like saying to an American, what does American mean to you? And they would show eagles and flags and guns and whatnot. I don't know if that's American or not, but I want to see something that would highlight the Indian culture and Indian way of thinking into the gaming medium. That's what I want to see. So are there any games right now that you could play that would sort of highlight the Indian, way of gaming or Indian development? Yeah, a few of them. From way back in the day, there was this game called Unrest, sort of this top-down view-ish game, which I haven't played myself. I've seen the gameplay, but that's one of the games that's kind of known. And then recently there's a game called Raji, an Untold or Unsaid Epic. Fuck, I forgot the name. Right, it's called Raji, an Ancient Epic. My bad. But that's a game that's kind of known recently, and it got some pretty good reviews from a lot of people, and a lot of people seem to like it. I haven't played the game myself. I have seen the gameplay trailer. I like it. I want to play it. I haven't played it yet. Maybe you should stop by my Twitch channel. Probably I will play there at some point. So, shameless plug. A fucking shameless plug. And then I'm sure there are some other games which are just not that well known. But there is another kind of this weird genre of games from India, which are Bollywood games. I don't know how many of you actually watch Bollywood movies. They are quite fun, but at some point there was this craze of making a video game from the movie that is about to release as part of this promotion. Those were pretty bad. I mean, pretty bad games. There is Gajini, the game. There is Singham Returns, the game. There is Ra 1. There is some other Bollywood game that is based off on a movie that is about to release, which is not a good idea at all. I don't know why they decided to make these games, but they're absolutely terrible. Maybe, if they really wanted to make a game, they should have turned these games into a proper story and actually implemented some kind of a character to them. Maybe that would have been a success. But no, those were just some cheap knockoff games sort of made to create hype around the actual movie. So if you want to play them, feel free to check them out and let me know if you actually like them, but I highly discourage from you to do that. So yeah, I don't mean those bullshit games. I mean a game like Raji. I mean a game that is so good, so genuine, and so authentic from the Indian developers. That's what I want to see. And I think the time is now. It's coming. It's pretty soon. I think a lot of gamers right now in India are trying to move towards PCs, and I think the Indian market in general does see the potential in developing some PC games, local made games. Because right now within India, even if they are working for these foreign companies, India is still making around $1 billion just by working on video games. That's quite a lot of money already. But imagine if they made local games. Imagine they promoted local games, funded these local talented developers. So many of them out there. If only they get a little bit more boost, I believe that we could see some beautiful games coming out from India. So those are my thoughts on the Indian gaming industry in general. I genuinely believe that there are some great artists and some great storytellers and developers out there who are willing to make some amazing games. It's just that we have to wait a little longer. But I do believe that in around maybe 2 to 5 years we would hear a lot more, and I hope that I do hear a lot more from India. I want to know what kind of stories that they can build, and I cannot wait to actually experience them. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about them? What kind of stories do you expect to come out of India? Are you excited to see what's gonna happen with them? Because I think that there is quite a lot of potential, but they're just a little bit behind from the rest of the world's gaming community. But I believe that we will get some great stories from them. So with all of that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace